Okay, I've been reading this for about 2 weeks, so I think I'm ready to make this video. How's it going, party people? It's Caravan Dan from Gaming Caravan. Today we're going to be doing a before you buy video on SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Now, just a heads up, this is not a setup guide. This is not a how to play video. This is a before you buy. I mean, this is how the game plays, the primary mechanics, some other games might be like, and whether or not you should buy, try, or deny this game. So keep that in mind as I explain to you the gist of the game. So in SETI, what you are is you are a bunch of scientists. Each player is a different scientist, and aliens exist. Your goal is to try to find them, communicate with them, and interact with them with the boards on top that get revealed throughout the game. There are a myriad of different ways to do so. There's a bunch of different strategies to get there. On your turn, very simple. You're going to do an action, and then you're going to do as many free actions as you want. Once everyone's done with their actions, once everyone passes, the round will be over. And then we'll proceed to the next round. There's only about 5 rounds in the game. It's a pretty short game, theoretically speaking. But in actuality, when I played the game, it genuinely took about 30 minutes sometimes to get back to me because there's so much to do. The interaction on the board can be pretty significant, especially with the limiting factors. There are a lot of limiting factors in this game, whether it's currency, whether other players take your spot, go to your location, maybe take claim of an area control situation. There are a lot of primary mechanics in this game as well, which we'll get into. But regardless, there's a lot of things in this game that interact with other people on the board, even though you don't necessarily have to interact with each other. Now, I'd say the primary mechanics for the game are income, racing, because you're definitely racing to do stuff for other players in a lot of regards, and resource management. This game is through and through probably such a tight resource management game. I hope I'm using that term properly. I hear it used a lot in the board game space. There are a myriad of mechanics in this game. I will say that much. There's not a single term I can use for this at all whatsoever. It's an exploration game. It's an area control game. It is a race because you're trying to get to locations first. It is income because you can generate income over here. Also, it's an engine builder because you're able to upgrade your actions, and things you play in front of you can assist you in other actions going forward. You have to do forward thought throughout this whole game. That's why your turns can take a little bit, because if you're playing this game properly, you're thinking about 10 turns from now, which seems daunting, but it's very, very feasible to be able to plan that far ahead. Even with people messing you up, you're still able, for the most part, to plan your next few moves going forward. And whether or not someone messes you up, because you do have your own board down here, you're able to interact with yourself, whether it's just upgrading certain actions of yours, or maybe planning to go to a location where no one's even close to, even though that can change with someone rotating the entire board. So let's say I'm planning to go to the star up here. Naturally, that would make sense. However, if someone decides to move the location, the board, to do something like this, look at that. That messes me up 100% because instead of going there easily, it now takes me a few more turns potentially, and maybe it adds an asteroid belt I don't want to go through. Maybe it reveals a planet that might be a better strategy for me to go to. So there's a bunch of things that can change in between turns, which is why you can't plan too much off your turn. You can only plan for an overall strategy. For instance, next time I play this game, I'm 100% going to go towards the data route and data mining to get more knowledge on the planets. I will say this game 100% feels, in my opinion, like you are taking actions on a computer and trying to do the best stuff possible. You are controlling satellites and probes. However, the way you're doing so is typically with cards, currency, and energy, which in my head, you're really like typing on a computer and you're all just in a room, just glitter clattering your way, kind of like you are in real life. And then you can launch some of your probes to certain planets if you land on them, and then you can turn your planets into rovers if you decide to do so. And the only thing that doesn't seem the most thematic, in my opinion, is this announcement track, which I never know the technical term for, but it's a public resource that everyone can utilize, everyone can work with. And the higher up you go, when you drop down, you spend it to either draw cards or maybe get extra types of information, which matters way more whenever these alien boards reveal at 30 points. I've never played with less than 4 people. I've only played this game with 4 people, and it was intense. It was fun. It was a great time. I sucked naturally. But I feel like I had some good turns in there, and I really do feel like I understand the game. And even just glancing through the rulebook for a few minutes, I joked that it was weeks, but I glanced through the rulebook for a few minutes to remind myself of all the actions, because it's been a few months since I played, and truly it's not truly is not insanely confusing. There is just a lot of limiting factors on here. For instance, if someone goes to your spot that you were really planning on going, maybe you needed exactly that resource, instead of doing those 3 turns you're going to do, maybe now you have to work on the card you have in your hand. Also, the cards, this is probably one of the only games with cards that are significantly multi-use that I enjoy, because usually multi-use card games I don't really fancy too much, primarily because there's too many options, and when there's too many options to do the same thing, it gets very difficult, and I just don't like that. I don't like having to think that much on like so much. But in this game, even though there's a lot of planning, a lot of thinking, it depends on how you play it. And the way I play it is I'm primarily going for maybe I'm right now only going for credits. I'll do anything that gives me credits. So I look at what gives me credits, and it's really not that many things. And on top of that, maybe I'm going for points. Like, what can I do right now to get me victory points? Maybe it's only that one section. Or maybe I'm saying like, okay, I really want to have majority control here. What will allow me to go put data in that location to give me more area control? So it's one of those things that there's a lot of things to do, but only a few things to give you whatever you might want, which is important. And a lot of in the beginning of the game, you're usually going for income, so you already know like the typical strat that you're going to do. And then maybe later on, you're saying like, okay, now I want to interact with the alien. What gives me more data points with the alien? And even with that, some other people might be on certain sections you could go to, so it limits you down to like one option. And maybe if you're trying to go for an upgrade, some of the upgrades were already claimed, so it's like, okay, those upgrades were claimed. Maybe I want to go now. I have to go for this upgrade, which costs this. So. It's really not too much. It's not too bad, but there are a lot of different points on the card. So this top left section will give you the free action. Top right, you can use it for the section color, because that matters sometimes when you're doing data information. The cost of the card, the effects of the card, depending on how you use it from your hand. Bottom right's the income, if you slot it for the income. And there's some other cards that give you they're like missions potentially, which is important to know. But overall, I do have a good time with this game. It's a heavy game, one of the heaviest I've ever played. If someone tells you otherwise, they're lying to you. This game took 4 people about 6 hours, I want to say, when we played it. I was taking the least amount of time on my turns, mainly because I'm not thinking as hard as they are. And again, I did worse than they all were doing on their turns, which is kind of apparent. But overall, this game is pretty unique in how it plays, with all the mechanics mashup situation, but it's all utilized for the overall betterment of the game, which is important in the game. Too many people throw in mechanics just to make it complicated. I would say all of this intertwined very beautifully, very thematically. The theme of the aliens revealing and then changing the entire way that people interact with the game. One of them is like a push your luck location, or maybe the more you have on the board, it's either going to help or hurt you. One of which is simply just like majority. If you have the most on the board, you get this. Also, the higher up on the board you can get A, B, C, D. People can block you off pretty much, which can suck. But overall, that's just one less option for you to have to worry about. So you have to do the best with what you can do. Resources, all of them in this game are very hard to come by. Whether it's cards, whether it's currency, whether it's energy, even with it. This bottom right income slot that happens between rounds. Keep in mind, you only have 5 rounds, and there's almost no way to get energy or to get resources except between your income phase. So you really have to plan on what you're doing properly, because even though you have a limited amount of actions, a limited amount of free actions on your turn, the second you run out of resources, you can't really take anything, so you kind of have to pass, which you can still take free actions, but they can really dramatically limit your overall access to your turn. So you really have to keep that in mind with what you want to do. That costs 5 credits. 5 credits is now a lot more than it sounds. There are some important rules that people overlook. For instance, when you slot a card into your income track, you need to gain that resource immediately, and also in between income phases. I can see that being a dramatic and definitely skewed thing that if people don't do it, but other people do, that can change the game entirely. I mean, you could play the best you can, but if you have less resources in this game, you're going to be shot in the foot 100%. But there are a lot of nuances to this game that I don't think other games have the capability to even hit. And overall, this game was a fun endeavor. I wouldn't play this more than quarterly. I have some games I have I'd play daily, I'd play weekly, I'd play monthly, I'd play yearly. And this game I'd play quarterly. I wouldn't play it more than every 3 months probably, just because it's really strong, a really big experience, and I don't really want to teach this game too much. Now that I've played it once, I can teach it pretty quickly. I do want to play it one more time pretty soon, now that I've set it up and everything. It is a little bit long of a setup. There's a lot of components that go on top of it. But one thing I really enjoy about the board, I'm not sure if you can tell from how the camera is currently showing, is the entire board is accessible to both to everyone. If I'm sitting here and want to read what's up there, I just turn my head, which is nice. But usually all the board is in one location, so down here I'd still have to crank my neck even more. But instead, I can turn my head a little bit here to the right if I want to read what's on top, turn a little bit to the left because this information is actually showing this way. So the entire board is easy to read for all players. So if you're sitting up here, you're not really too much at a disadvantage because you don't have to read everything upside down. It's only like this section, but this section's shown plainly to you, which I very much like, and I don't think that too many games do that. On top of that, the fun board setup where, again, things move, things rotate, and it can affect everyone. It can push people in ways that they do or do not want. Sometimes you help each other, sometimes you hurt each other. Their end game objectives. There's just a lot to this game. So again, and this game's a lot. That's just all just saying how the game is overall. Now to talk about what games are similar to, I don't know anything. I can't even tell you in general. The only game that has a similar theme even is Abduction that I know of, where your scientists utilizing aliens or something like that to move the ducks around. But this is nothing like Abduction. But yeah, unique. I wouldn't say it's like a unique theme because the theme seems very basic personally, but the way they went about it made a very, very, very unique game experience, which I think is super, super cool. A lot of times, people like being the guy to do it. And even though Aliens isn't really too sci-fi, like this, you're just like working as like a government employee basically, trying to find and discover aliens, which isn't that unrealistic to be honest. That's some people's jobs right now. So, tis what tis. So yeah, I can't really tell you any game that's similar to mechanically, thematically, but what I can say, it's a pretty heavy game, which takes us to the buy, try, or deny section of this before you buy. Buy this game if you like heavy games, if you like mechanic intertwining, and if you like long games. If you like heavy, long games, this is right in that bucket. I think this game's rated like a 3.8 in terms of weight, which is pretty significant. It's not like a 4.2 or anything like that. There are definitely heavier games, which is not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if you like heavier games, and you like nice intertwining of mechanics, you should definitely buy this game. Like this is kind of a no-brainer. It's $80 or something around there, like $70, $80, which is pretty expensive. And I think it's getting more expensive with the reprint coming on because of the tariff situation we have currently. Hopefully not the time you watch this video, but who knows. So the price of this is planning to go up. I buy my games half off because I can sell and I have my connections, all that stuff, which is pretty nice. But maybe try this game if you're interested in getting into heavier games, because this game is definitely not too difficult. In terms of, like, if you play board games, you play midway games, you play 3s, 3.2s, this is a nice jump. You know, it's not a leap, it's not like too far of a grasp, but it is a jump, which will allow you to push yourself out of your comfort zone and allow you to experience new games and understand the weight that you're comfortable with, what you like in games, what you don't like in games. This game actually showed a lot about me and my taste in games whenever I was talking with other people about what I like and didn't like. So even with that one single value piece, it's pretty nice. I'll say that much. It is pretty nice to have experience as an experience, because truly this game is an experience. When the alien cards get revealed, you read out the data. You have to read out, like, you don't have to, but it's fun to read out like the background of the aliens, why they want what they want, how it affects the entire game, how players react to it. It was a fun time. We kind of just bum rushed the points, just not just for point purposes, but also like we wanted to get the aliens. We wanted to see what they had to say and how they're going to affect the game overall. So it was a nice experience overall, like kind of like a almost co-op type vibe. Not like this game doesn't feel like a co-op at all, but in the regard that we were all excited about the top, we were talking about like it's at least a semi co-op, truly, because we were trying to reveal them. So like, okay, I'll go red, you go yellow. It was nice. It wasn't too strong of competition for that, because if someone was going red, so like, okay, I'll go pink or I'll go purple. They're all the same color in this game. If someone was going red, I'll go blue, because I also want to have my dot on the alien check. And there's, I don't know, it's a fun time. Anyways, that's the try. Definitely try if you're in that regard, where if you want to try heavier games and you haven't yet, this is a nice jump. It's a nice jump if you play like 3.2s, 3.4s, which doesn't skyrocket out of the park. And deny this game if you don't like heavy games, if you don't like long games, because this is both. I mean, technically, I think the shortest this game could take is 3 hours, really, if you're all like cranking it through and you're really going ham on it. There's just a lot of thinking on and off your turn. So I can't really see how this game could be too much dumbed down. I didn't even go through all the components. The main actions alone are launch a probe, orbit a planet, land on a planet or moon, scan nearby stars, analyze data, play a card for its effect, research tech, or pass. And that's not including the free actions, which are just more the same of those. But there's missions, there's objectives. Like there's a lot in this game that I haven't even talked about yet, because it's before you buy and not so much how to play. And I do typically teach how to play in my games way too much. There's just, anyways, so if you don't like long games, if you don't like complex games, stay away from this. This is an automatic no for you. CGE does a lot of good stuff, and this is just another one to knock out of the park. Congratulations on making the CGE. I'm excited to work with you a little more in the future. CGE did not send me this game, but they did send me some other games I'll be posting videos on. And if you want to support Gaming Caravan and all that we do, definitely go ahead and go to the description of the video and back our Kickstarter Stockpile, which is a 2 to 6 player light family weight game of simultaneous action, collecting socks and creating sets and pairs and all that fun stuff. So I would encourage everyone to go do that. But thank you for watching this video. Let me know what game you'd like to see before you buy a video on next. I'm excited to do this. I'm not excited to put this game away. It took like 20 minutes to set up and put out there, and I have to pack it away in another 10 minutes. But I'm having a great time. Thanks for watching, supporting Gaming Caravan. Make sure to subscribe to see more videos. Like if you enjoyed this video, and drop a comment on what video I should do next and what you think about SETI. But that's everything. Peace. Have a great day. God bless. And I hope to see you at table soon.